At this point, there is over 50 years worth of Doctor Who. Where do you start? As someone who very obviously really loves Doctor Who, a question I will sometimes get from people who know me and have heard great things about the show but have never watched it before is, well, where do I begin? And that's really kind of a tough question to answer, but I'll start with what you don't do. What you don't do is go back to the first episodes from 1963 and try and start there. There's a number of reasons you don't do that, aside from the fact that it would take forever. The big thing is, though, I really don't think the classic era is where any modern audience should be starting. You can enjoy the classic era, certainly, but I think you're going to be better off starting with the modern era, get hooked into it first, come to like the character, like the world, and then go back and watch the older stuff. The older stuff, it's very of its time. It's very dated in a lot of ways, and it's very held back by the budgetary restrictions of the time. There's still some fantastic stuff from the classic era, but I don't think it's a good hook or a good starting place for people trying to get into this for the first time. Again, once you're into the show, by all means, go back and watch it. Don't feel obligated to watch classic era stuff in chronological order, though, because they're pretty much all self-contained stories. You can watch them in any order you feel like. But you need to start somewhere in the modern era, which started in 2005 with Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor. Now, logically, wouldn't you just say, so you start with the 2005, so with Series 1 then, right? Nah, I'm not sure I'd recommend that either. The thing is that that first series, I don't really feel is particularly good representation of the show at this point. There was a lot of stuff that went on in that first series that got dropped. A lot of goofy aspects, a lot of sort of more juvenile, more childish touches that got dropped really almost immediately. By the next series, they'd gotten rid of a lot of that stuff. So I'm not sure that that's the best place to start either. And the other thing is, even if you start there, that's still over 10 years of stuff that you've got to catch up on from that, which that can be a bit of a chore. So here's what I tend to recommend to people thinking about getting into Doctor Who for the first time. My recommendations are twofold. I have a test episode, and then I actually have a place where I recommend that they start. My test episode is Blink. I will tell people, okay, you've never seen Doctor Who, go see the episode Blink, just that episode. Because I think Blink is the episode where you can go in knowing nothing about the character, nothing about the premise, nothing about anything. You can watch it, you can follow that story, you can get what's going on, you can get a feel of the character, you can get a feel of the type of stories that get told, you can get a feel of what people love about this show. Now, if you watch Blink and it doesn't grab you and you're not left going, I want to see more stuff like this, you know what? Just walk away. The show's not for you, and that's fine. But if it does intrigue you, my own recommendation for where to start after that is with the 11th Hour, which is Matt Smith's first episode. Now, I'm sure some people who follow this channel are going to be saying, well, you're just saying that because Matt Smith's your favorite Doctor, and I'm not going to say that's not part of the reason. I'm sure it probably is. But it's an option I kind of came to really by process of elimination. As I said, the start of Series 1, it's just not indicative of the rest of the show. Now, maybe starting Series 2 with David Tennant, that's an option. The thing is, though, Christmas Invasion, which is his first episode, still it has a little bit of the lingering goofiness from Series 1, and then the actual proper start of Series 2 with New Earth, and then Tooth and Claw and some other stuff. There's a lot of stuff I love in Series 2. The way that it starts isn't great, and there's some really rough episodes in that season. That's the season that had Fear Her and Love and Monsters. So I'm not sure that that's a series to recommend people start with if you're trying to get them to fall in love with the show. Starting in Series 3 or Series 4 could work, but by that point we're getting too many callbacks and references to stuff that had already gone on the show, and people are going to know that they're missing out on stuff. Now, are there callbacks at the start of Matt Smith's era, which was Series 5? Yes, there are, but really, that first episode especially, the 11th Hour, really was designed as a jumping on point. And you get the Doctor, and you get a new companion, and you get a summary of how he works, how the TARDIS works, how his life works. And when Stephen Moffat, who became the showrunner at the start of that series, took over, I'm not going to say he didn't call back to the stuff that had gone on before them, but it was more referential. It didn't dig deeply into what had gone on before. So the start of Series 5 really does work as a very good starting point. Now, I suppose the other possibility to consider would be Deep Breath, the start of Series 8, which was Peter Capaldi, who at the time of this recording is the current Doctor, but again, I don't feel that that episode works particularly well as a jumping on point. The other thing, as much as I personally love Capaldi's Doctor, he's a bit bristly, he's a bit prickly, especially in his first series, and I'm not sure that he's going to be as affable and as good at pulling in new people as Matt Smith was, who was just lovable and warm, and I think he works a lot better in terms of hooking people in. Again, yes, I will admit he is my favorite Doctor, but you have to admit the guy's just kind of more welcoming. Just as a persona, as a personality. So anyway, that's my own recommendation for what I tell people. Where do you start with Doctor Who? Now, if you're a Doctor Who fan and you've gone all the way through this video, what starting point would you recommend for people trying to get into this show for the first time? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments and let's talk about it. Please feel free to like, subscribe, check out the Council of Geeks podcast available on iTunes and Stitcher. And until next time, this council is adjourned.